Assalamu alaikum students. Welcome to yet another lecture in our CSS English essay lecture series. Today the topic which we are going to discuss is that students often ask that is there any syllabus for English essay? When they go to FPSC website, they download the file in the PDF, they see that every subject has a syllabus. But when it comes to English essay, they just find this okay, that it's just written when it comes to English essay syllabus, only this thing is written that let me read it for you. Candidates will be required to write one or more essay in English. Of course there is only one, okay. There haven't been any instance that they have asked to write more than one essay, so don't worry about this more thing. Avoid A wide choice of topics will be given. Candidates are expected to reflect comprehensive and research based knowledge on a selected topic. Okay, you have to select 1 out of 10. Candidates articulation, expression and technical treatment of the style of English essay will be examined. Now the keywords here are comprehensive and research based knowledge. That is which effectively means that in your essay, in your write up of 2500 words, you need to have solid content. Okay, without solid content you won't be making it. Okay, secondly, your expression, articulation and technical treatment of the style of English essay writing will be examined. Now frankly speaking, this doesn't you know tell a lot about what the examiner expect in English essay, or in other words we can say that what is the syllabus as per FPSC requirements. So for that we need to move on to the examiner's report, okay, the which is published not every year but you know from time to time. But these are the exact words of the examiner's reports, okay, the ones which I'm just going to write. Okay, so pay special attention to these in addition to paying attention to the words which are in bold and in red color. Okay, so these are the exact words of the FPSC examiner, so we have to take them as the syllabus of English essay. Okay, so the first thing is majority of the candidates, these are the words of examiner, the majority of the candidates attempted the paper in such a way that ideas were not coherent, organized or focused on the topic. So here three things: coherent, in which I have a separate lecture which I'll be sharing you know in a couple of days, which means that the ideas, they were not flowing smoothly from one idea to another, from one paragraph to another, and then within a paragraph there was not a smooth transition from one sentence to another. So that is what the examiner means by coherence. So that is why you often hear the words that your essay should have unity and coherence, because examiner specifically has mentioned that this is why he has failed the candidates. Students lacked coherence in their write up. Secondly, organized. Of course you need to have a organized thought process when you're writing an essay. You need to know that which things come first, which things come later, which are the points which need to be mentioned earlier on, because they are more important ones, which of the points need to come later on. So you need to have some sort of organization in your write up. The basis could be anything like chronological order, or different factors like economic factors, political factors, social. But regardless of what methodology you're using, there has to be some form of organization. And because if you're not following if you're not organizing your essay, the examiner will fail you, definitely will fail you. And that is why he has mentioned this thing in his examiner report. So the third the third point is focused on the topic. Now what does this mean? This means that if the examiner has given you a topic, okay, and he wants you to take a stance and then defend it, then throughout your essay, all the points which you are throwing at the examiner, I mean, they need to hit the topic, they need to hit your thesis statement directly or indirectly. Because if you're writing randomly the points, the ideas which are not uh, addressing the topic, or which are not strengthening your stance, and which won't result in the vindication of your stance, then your write up will be not focused. And once again, examiner has clearly stated that he does not fail those candidates who don't write focused, who don't write according to the requirements of the topic. That is what the topic is asking of them. So just bear in mind these three things. Then secondly, once again, these are exact words. Random thoughts were brought together without any logical reasoning or research based facts and arguments. Now here the examiner is saying that randomly, students just randomly put in ideas. There was no logical reasoning. Facts were missing. Arguments, the students didn't argue properly to defend their stance. So this is a generic one. There was lack of creativity which might be expected of candidates appearing in a competitive exam. Now, once again, here the examiner is alluding to those students who just buy some books, cram up the material, and just write. Let's suppose they have read a topic in some book about UN, and the same sort of topic comes up in the exams from a different angle, like growing presence of UN is leading to human rights violations, but they don't perceive that this topic is asking something about UN from a different perspective. Okay, they just jump on the topic and write everything which they have read in some random book about best essays, or so to speak. And that clearly reflects to the examiner that this candidate lacks creativity. He has just crammed up some thoughts, and without taking into account the nature of the question being asked in the topic, they just jump on the topic and write. So they lack creativity. They don't present out of the box ideas which are hitting the statement of the topic. Number fourth point which the examiner writes is that the demands of the topics was to build an argument from multiple angles and substantiate it with facts and figures. However, a large majority of the candidates incorporated formulaic and crammed up material in the essays. Now, once again, this is what I just said, that the topics in CSS demand that you argue from different angles. And why do you argue from different angles? To vindicate your stance, to prove that you are right, that once you have taken a stance, you convey to the examiner that you are right in the stance. And how you do that? By arguing from different angles, by substantiating your arguments with facts and figures. Okay, so this is what the examiner expected of candidates. Rather, what the candidates gave him was that they incorporated formulaic and crammed up material in the essays. Okay, they just had some, but this doesn't mean that you shouldn't be collecting facts. You should collect facts on as many topics as you can, but you shouldn't be incorporating them just the way you read them somewhere. You should be incorporating them in a way from which the question was asked in the essay. Okay, so once again, these are the reasons which the examiner is clearly stating that is why he fails the candidates. That is why he won't give them 40. He might fail them at 39. He might fail them at 37 or 20. So these are the reasons. So just don't just ignore this lecture. This is very, very important, because this effectively becomes our syllabus of essay exam. Okay, moving on. Let's read some other points which the examiner has brought up. So most of the candidates did not fulfill the criterion of required length. That is, we are expected to write approximately 2500 words. Of course, why candidates fail? Because they don't write the requisite length. First of all, if they don't write 2500 words, or there can be some range around that. I mean, it's not that like you exactly have to write 2500 words, otherwise the examiner will fail you. But if you strive for 2500 words, you might be able to write 2000 to 2200 words. Okay, but if you're not able to write even 2000 words, and you are writing just 1500 words, then firstly, you're not satisfying the criterion which the examiner has set, that approximately 2500 to 300 words are to be written. And secondly, this clearly reflects that you not have enough material, enough arguments on a particular topic. That's why you just stuck up to 1500 words. Okay, this clearly states that, okay, if your essay is of 1500 words, then it clearly means that you weren't able to fully vindicate, to just you weren't able to prove your stance that why you are right. You didn't have arguments, you didn't have facts and figures, you lacked content. So these so you can we can look at this criterion from two perspectives, okay? But once again, requisite length is important. You can write anything from 2000, or to be on safer side, 2200 to 2500 words, provided that you have written relevant and you haven't mistake grammatical and spelling mistakes. You will make it. Moving on, the essays were also replete with errors of grammar, spellings, and punctuation. In fact, there was not a single script which was error free. Once again, very, very, very important line. But the bottom line in essay exam is that without correct grammar, spellings, and punctuation, you won't make it, believe me, okay? It doesn't matter if you have very good ideas, it doesn't matter if you have great content, some out of the box content. If you are making grammatical mistakes, and if you are making spelling mistakes, and if you don't know how to use punctuations properly, believe me, I can just guarantee that you won't make it to 40 marks, okay? You will fail it. Here this thing is important, that not a single script was error free. Now, when you're writing 2500 words in 3 hours, you will make some mistakes of punctuations, because you're writing in a very speedy manner, and some punctuations might miss out, or you might misplace some punctuations, you might write some spelling wrong, okay? You might mistake, you might make some random grammatical error. But that error, and the error which students make because they don't know how to properly use punctuation, what is the proper grammatical structure is, and they repeatedly make grammatic spelling mistakes, will clearly be visible to the examiner. Examiner will definitely know that either this candidate has made a punctuation one off punctuation mistake in a hurry, or does he or she haven't a, doesn't have a clue as to what proper grammatical structure is, how to use the punctuations. So if you don't know how the rules about this, then believe me, examiner will spot out that he doesn't know about grammar, he doesn't know about punctuation. Of course, one off mistake can be made when you're writing 2500 words within 3 hours, but that will be ignored, okay? But if the examiner finds out that no, this candidate doesn't know it, he won't pass you, believe me. Because why he won't pass you? First of all, because he expects that candidates who sit in the essay exam, they need to have a proper level, some level of some degree of grammatical expression. They need to know the punctuations. And secondly, if you're not good at these things, then overall your write up won't be conveying a message, okay? It will be just vague, punctuations. A slight misplacement of punctuation changes the entire meaning of your sentence, okay? So these are the two reasons why students fail. Next, why the examiner fails is that the outlines of the essays were not properly structured. Either they were brief, or if they were detailed, most of the time the aspects mentioned in the outlines were not discussed in the essays. First of all, outlines were very, very brief. Remember, in the thesis statement, in the introductory paragraph and your outline, the examiner is just looking that he gets a picture. You have to give the examiner a broad picture that what your essay is going to be. This is what the examiner expects in a thesis statement. Okay. And after reading the outline and your introductory paragraph, the examiner must be able to know, you should be able to convey to the examiner, and examiner is expecting that you would have given him, apart from the picture, the broader picture, the story which you are going to write in your essay, the blueprint also, okay? The nitty gritty, the different points which you're going to write in your whole essay, that should clearly be conveyed through your outline. If you are unable to convey it, and your outline is a very brief one, then examiner will be checking the rest of your paper with a negative frame of mind, okay? And secondly, if you have made a, let's suppose, detailed outline, and you're not able to discuss all the points, that also reflects badly on your write up, okay? The examiner will say that okay, this candidate though has written an outline, but he wasn't able to manage the time properly. But here I can recommend you a measure which you can take in emergency, but remember, this is only in case of emergency, that if you're running short on time and you have already mention the main ideas of your essay in the write up, in the of your outline in the write up. And you are running short on time, and let's suppose 2 to 3 main ideas which are not that much important, but you have written them in the outline, then you might club them in a single paragraph, okay, just to save time and write a proper conclusion. But once again, this technique, this formula should be applied in case of emergency. You shouldn't be doing this in case of main ideas. Main ideas should be discussed separately, okay. Moving on. Overall, the standard of the scripts were dismal and highly unsatisfactory. Now, this is one a generic reason which the examiner has given. So now that we know what the syllabus of the essay is, that is what the examiner is expecting of us to do in the essay, we need to know from where to prepare. Okay. Now there are three sources. I tell my students there are three sources from which you can carve up an essay or write an essay. Number one, your observation and personal opinion on different issues and topics. Now you are just you have just started to prepare for CSS for, let's suppose, 2 to 3 months. But you know, your whole life, let's suppose for 22 years or something like that, you already have some opinions, okay, on different issues, like how you see foreign aid, okay. You must you might have, I'm expecting that you might have some opinion on that, okay. Women empowerment, you might have some opinion on that, okay. So these are the areas. This is one of the sources from where you can write an essay. You already have opinion, okay. You are opinionated people. I mean, you have requisite qualification. So this is one area from where students should be utilizing their knowledge already they possess, okay. Secondly, 11 other subjects. This is one thing where students ignore most. Okay, in CSS you study a lot. Okay, you study, excluding the essay paper, you study 11 other subjects. Okay, now there is a lot of material which you can collect from those subjects and incorporate it in the essay, provided that it's relevant. Once again, if it's relevant, you don't have to like extract everything from the subjects and put it in the essay just to make sure that okay, you are utilizing that. Only do that if you are, if you think that something is relevant, like from international relations or international law or sociology or psychology or even islamiyat, anything. If you find that okay, something is relevant which I have studied there, you can incorporate it in your essay, provided that it is relevant. So this is one of the main source. Now last source, this is the one where we specifically gather the material for some topic areas which we consider that they might show up, and they often show up you know, in every year, so to speak. I mean, economics, you need to gather material on economics, you need to gather material on women empowerment, okay. You need to gather some material on probably CPAC. So some other, these I have a separate lecture for this, okay. And this is where I have mentioned that how you can collect. I have shown in that lecture that how you can collect information effectively on different topics, what are the techniques. But nonetheless, this is the third source where you specifically collect information on different topic areas. Remember, just a student often ask me that what are the most expected topics of CSS, you know, in particular year. It could be 2019, 20, or whatever. But I don't believe in this theory. I believe that you shouldn't be preparing from some particular topics. You should be preparing for topic areas. Like you should have some grip on economics, economic terminology. You should have some grip on, let's suppose, government structure. Then you should know about different areas of women empowerment. Okay, what is women empowerment? Are women given are women given rights? So these, you should be preparing for essay from the perspective of topic areas, and you shouldn't be just asking different people like what is the topic which to expect in the essay. I mean, water crisis, energy crisis, these are the topic areas which you need to prepare, believe me. Now there are a lot, you will meet a lot of people who will say that okay, this is a very hot topic which might show up. Well, I don't know those people have some inside information or not, because only the examiner knows that what is going to show up in the exam. The only thing which you can do is to prepare for topic areas. Okay, and I have mentioned this. I have discussed this thing in a more detailed manner in this lecture. Just so go for this lecture, and a lot of your doubts will be cleared. Okay, so that is it from this lecture. I hope this lecture was useful. What we discussed in this lecture was that for English essay, the syllabus is simply the examiner's report, and we discussed this. We discussed the examiner's report from different perspectives, and secondly, how we can prepare for essay. And there were three different sources. So until next lecture, Allah Hafiz, best of luck. Best of luck. I hope that all of you will be preparing for your CSS exams, and wishing you once again best of luck. Allah Hafiz.